Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining the conversation today. Today, we're going to be discussing understanding and providing consistent quality across multiple value streams. My name is Benjamin Walker. I'm a solution architect here at Microfocus. And today, we'll be walking through these quality value stream tracking and how ALM Octane can be a part of that larger story. So to begin with, we're going to start in the application that we're actually going to be testing against and tracking our value streams and measuring quality. So this is going to be the Advantage online shopping application. As you can see here, it kind of looks and feels like an e-commerce site. I could navigate for different items. I can purchase different items if I choose to. I have my profile, I have my cart. Kind of the normal functionality you would expect in an e-commerce site, generated more for the electronics. So now that we know what our website looks like, let's switch into Octane and take a look at how we're actually going to organize and track quality across these different critical components. Octane has a lot of different capabilities throughout the software lifecycle. Today, we're going to deep dive purely into quality, as you probably could have already guessed. So once we get into the quality module, you'll notice that there's tests, features, defects. We have a central repository of all these items. And then on the left, we also have different groupings, which are called application modules. And this is a very key stream in terms of how we're going to manage and track that quality accordingly. So these application modules are going to be where we can isolate different parts of our application and track quality against those, being able to get a little bit more granular with our tests, defects, and features and other entities that we could tie to these application modules. So you can see right now, we have quality tracked for search and navigation, our user profile, our performance, and our security. As well, if I click into these, I could see I already have some analytics associated with them. I already have entities aligned to them for my user profile. I have test coverage. I have defects created. And you could also see at the parent level, I could see some different analytics in terms of what has been ran, what's passing, what's failing, and what is my environmental data on a application module by application module basis, which is going to be the central theme in how we're going to track quality across these value streams and provide that consistency. One thing you'll notice here is I also have a lot of unassigned tests. So in terms of consistency, one of the biggest themes that you're going to want with application development is making sure that your modules of the application have test coverage, but also two, all your testing efforts as well as your defect efforts have something to map to. A test doesn't necessarily provide that much value unless it is being mapped to a specific component of the application so that we can have that granularity of measuring quality. One thing you can notice if you look at some of these tests, they all have to do with the cart. They also have to all do with the payment process. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to that top level, create a new application module. Let's call this checkout and payment. I'm going to add it to the root here. You can see now I have my checkout and payment application module. I'm going to go to these unassigned tests and allocate them to checkout and payment. And then I'm also going to view what defects I have unassigned. You can notice these also have to deal with checking out or the payment process, and I'm going to allocate these to this new application module. Now, when I go to my reporting and look at my dashboard, I can see all my application modules here. Let me refresh. And you can see the quality tracked for them. You can notice one thing different here is going to be there is no checkout and cart profile showing up in this quality by application module view. So let's go take a deep dive into that and try to fix those issues. So you can see checkout and payment here. You can see I have my test. I also have my defects here. One thing to notice is I have multiple defects that are very high, as well as one that is medium. And my status dashboard at the very top side of this. My criteria is a good application module doesn't have severity defects, whereas a bad application module will have one or more very high severity defects. And as you can see here, I have multiple defects that are opened of that very high status. I also have multiple tests here that are running. All the tests look good, but what I need to do is create a new test to resolve the remaining defects. So let's say I'll create a new manual test, AOS checkout defect resolution. I can classify the type of test that this is. I'm going to call this a regression test, the duration, the backlog coverage, as well as the checkout and payment application module. When I add steps to this, I'm going to say resolve the defects in the checkout process. I'll also create a new step that says validate the payment process works as expected. I'm going to save this. And then the last thing we're going to do is draw a relationship between this test and the respective defects. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to filter by my application modules. I'm going to look for the defects associated to checkout and payment, select these 3 items. I'm going to go ahead and go back to the script and run this. One thing to note here is I can also select my environment. So if I want to run it in a specific browser, I can. I'm going to pick Chrome, and let's run this. Okay, you can notice here, if I go over to this way and split my screen, I have my manual test here, and I also have my website here. So for this test, I'm just going to add a simple item. I'm going to go to my cart, and I am going to check out. So I don't have a current account right now. I'm just going to create a new one, test at AOL.com. Password data here and register my new account. Okay, now that I have this registered, I can go to my cart. I can see everything's here that I expected. I'm not going to go through the entire payment process. I'm going to clear the cart and navigate back to home, just to show that the actual process of adding something to my cart, creating a profile, all works the way that I expected. Now that I have this passing, I'm going to stop my test, go back into the quality module, and I can see my run history that I was able to log in, create an account, add items to the cart successfully, go to my defects, and I can see here I have 1 defect. Duplicate items when added to the cart is when 1 is selected. So I'm going to change that from low, very high to low. It's already in the phase fixed, which is perfect. Cannot edit my cart in the Edge browser. I haven't been able to test that, but I was able to do it in Chrome. So there's a low likelihood that this is going to be problematic. I'm going to drop that down to low, and then a 20-second response time after checking out. That obviously did not occur. So I'm going to fix that as well and save all of these defects. Now, if I go back to the dashboard module, I can look at my criteria. So I can see here, I have all of my application modules being shown. I have the story points of these application modules. I can group them by number of tests, story points in the release. I can look at the criteria. Red is going to be more than 1 defect, matching critical, very high, or high in terms of defects. Now that we have ran the test, updated all the defects assigned to that application module, we should be able to save this, and we should see our newly created checkout and payment application module showing green. So just to recap of everything we ran through, we were able to explore our website, create a new application module to represent a gap in terms of the quality that was being captured and tested against our website. We were able to resolve the defects associated to that application module, and then topside view the updated reporting and quality tracking for this new application module. Thank you all for joining.